All right, and now let's roll that intro. Hey, good evening, everybody. And wow, for the first time in a while, it looks like we got the whole crew on at one time. This is so awesome. Chris Hughes, I got Miss Dina King down there. How you doing, Dina?
Doing good.
And we've got, like I said, we've got a full house of some of the best workers from covering preps across the state, from high schools, some of our student interns. We got Jack Leary up there. How you doing, Jack?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, good. Tally, I was in your neighborhood today. Brianna, I got to see you Saturday. Good to finally have you back on here. How's the season going?
It's pretty good. We're not doing the best, but we're having fun and just making the best of what we can.
Yeah.
Of course, and save the best for last. Chelsea, how's things in Raleigh tonight?
It's been good.
Good. I mean, I don't know if we've got anything to talk about. I mean, it's been a pretty boring time for sports. I don't know. What do y'all think?
No.
Not much.
Nothing.
High school basketball is rolling.
What's going on this week?
Is there something going on? I missed the middle.
Sunday seedings for private school basketball playoffs happen.
And make sure you keep everybody. You, by the way, I know we've got some guys on here that probably haven't been on Instagram, but if you have, make sure you follow us on Instagram. What's our followers up to now, Jack?
We're up to we're over 1,000, so it's growing. It's like 1,050 or something like that.
It sure is. I mean, you guys have just really knocked it out of the park with spreading the word for NC Preps there on the Instagram side. Dina, we had the first practices for football Monday. I've been out to a couple so far this week. What you feeling out there? What you thinking about the season? I know some of these schools have really had some cold practices the past couple days.
Yeah, it's fun checking out the social media sites of some of the mountain schools. I've had friends send me some beautiful pictures from Avery County and Watauga with the snow and the stadiums, and I know they're thankful they got that turf field that they can pretty much practice. As far as I've not been to an actual practice or anything, but I did speak to Coach Mike Wilbanks of Shelby today, and he was just so excited. He said they've had at that time, he said we had really 2 good practices, great weather for practice, and they're ready to go for another state championship with all that tradition and state champions there for the Golden Lions, and they're going to be really tough again this year.
Yep. I have no question about that. I think every team in that county, by the way, is going to be really tough. Burns, Kings Mountain, obviously Crest as well. I think that is, they're always one of the best, but you look at that county, and I think all of those teams are going to be really good this year.
Well, we've been message board people for a long time, and you don't dare say when you ask who has the best football, you're going to have some of those Cleveland County people fight you arm and leg and tell you that they have the best football.
Yep. They've got some really, really good football. Of course, I like to say if you're a high school that's along Highway 74, whether it be in Murphy or Richmond or Scotland or Wilmington, you've probably got some pretty good football in this state.
Yes.
We're going to, before we really dive into football, we're going to talk about a little bit of basketball. Jack, I know you have a basketball interview. I'm going to roll it here in a minute. We're going to kind of still, we're in the midst of hoop season, so we're going to give them their credit, their due. Before we go to Jack's interview, Dina, I don't know if you saw my Facebook today, but did you get to see who I had lunch with?
Yeah, Mr. Al Wood, one of UNC's all-time greats. Glad to see him out and about, and pretty nice picture there with you.
Yeah, I thought I dressed that picture up really nice. I thought I made him and my old baseball coach Ernie Fall. I thought I made them two look really good, kind of planting me right there in the middle. To this day, I'm almost 99.5% sure that I'm right, but I think that his 39-point performance against Ralph Sampson in Virginia is still a Final Four record for most points scored.
Wow.
Probably is. It's I know. Is he still in the Monroe area? Or
yeah, he's kind of down there in that greater Valentine, Charlotte area.
Had a daughter play at UNC and everything, so it's good to see him.
Yes, I agree. Well, Jack, we're going to talk a little basketball, not much. This is football.
Oh, come on.
Tonight. But you've got an interview we're going to play real quick. Tell everybody who you spoke with and just kind of give us the background of this player. And I think you've got some private school seedings coming up as well you can tell us about.
Yeah, so I went over to South Granville High School, home of South Granville High School, the Vikings, and Bobby Pettiford, Louisville commit. So they were facing off against Burlington School, who is considered probably around a top 5 team in the state. So it was going to be a really good matchup just with the point guards, Bobby Pettiford and Jamari Thomas, the person that I talked to, going to UNCW. But it was really going to be about who's supporting cast really showed up that game. And I think a lot of people going into the game thought Burlington was going to beat them handily, but South Granville made it a good game. Burlington ended up getting the win, but it was an ugly win. And then as Burlington's played on since this game, they've gotten beat by some teams because they haven't been playing that well. But I talked to Jamari Thomas. He's going to UNCW, transferred to Burlington for a senior year from Piedmont Classical. Played on Team Curry this summer, had a huge summer, and has had a really good senior year. So we talk a lot over social media, so it was good to get to talk to him in person.
Well, cool. Well, let's go ahead and run that video, and we'll come right back to you.
Here with Jamari Thomas of Burlington School after they just got a huge win over South Granville. What were some of the keys to the game that allowed you guys to get the win?
Really just stopping them from getting into the paint, making them hit tough shots. But they hit a lot of shots this game, so that's why they stayed in the game this game.
Yeah, you guys play against Louisville commit Bobby Pettiford. He hit some big shots, but what were some of y'all's tactics to try to stop him from getting inside the paint?
Really, it was just stopping him in transition. He's really elite in transition, just making him hit tough shots, and he hit them this game.
Yeah, you and Coel are one of the biggest duos in North Carolina. Today and even throughout the season, what do you think are some keys to you guys playing really well off each other?
Really just having positive vibes, not getting down on each other, and keeping the teammates together. That's the big spark.
As you guys move forward into the playoffs, which are really close around, you guys play in 2A, which is one of the toughest divisions. What are some things that you guys can improve on to hopefully win a state championship?
Really just the defense and just running our sets on time, just getting the sets done.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Hey, great job, Jack. And again, always good. We're still in the midst of hoop season, so we're always going to try to give them their due.
Yeah.
Between you and Dina, you guys have been owning basketball forever.
And Jamie has been putting out some great articles on the website. He has been finding some of the diamonds in the rough, going to different games. I love reading his articles. So yeah, Me, Dean, and Jamie trying to bring a little bit of hoops to NC Preps.
You're telling us, when is the seeding for the private school basketball?
So for NCHSAA, their last day of games is Saturday. So Sunday they will be making their seedings for the playoffs. They do top 4, East and West in every division, and then the rest is like regional play. So you'll have like 1A, you'll have top 4 for West, like Victory Christian. East is Cape Fear Christian, Greenfield. 2A, like I was saying with Jamari, they are loaded. Burlington School, Davidson Day, Westminster, Catawba, Northside Christian. East, you got Trinity Academy, Wayne Country Day. I mean, that's going to be – Burlington is going to have a tough route to the state championship, especially Davidson Day. They're holding teams to like 55 points a game. Their defense is insane. 3A is having a rough year. Concord Academy, which was Concord First Assembly, is looking to repeat there. And then 4A with the big 3, Carmel, Cannon, and Greensboro Day. It's going to be interesting to see how they seed those on Sunday.
Chelsea, or actually, before I go to Chelsea, Brianna, I know you didn't get an interview in time, and you've been playing in a season, so you certainly get a pass for that. But I do want to put you on the spot. How has your season's been for basketball over at North Lincoln, and just kind of who's been kind of taking care of business in that conference?
Well, our varsity boys have really been handling a lot. I think they've only lost 2 games out of, I believe, 8 now. They played Lincoln 10 tonight. They had a makeup game because Lincoln 10 had about 4 cases of COVID, so they had to remake the game up for tonight. So the JV and varsity boys played them. But I believe Cole Siegel and Jack Carter have really held the team together. Jack Carter recently just received his 1,000 career point. So he was awarded that against our rival team, East Lincoln. So he got it at our rival school, which was pretty cool. And then Cole Siegel had an outstanding performance. He was in the Charlotte Observer. I believe he scored 39 points against Lake Norman Charter. So he had a really good night that night. So he's up for voting against a bunch of other guys in North Carolina. So we've been doing that, but them two, they really stand out. And Jack Carter received an offer from Pfeiffer University. So I believe they're 7-2, but they're doing really good. Varsity girls, we're all right. It's not the best. We don't have the best record, but we've done a lot together and bonded together. So I think that's mainly, we have a new coach, a whole new program, a whole new playbook. Like it's a lot of adjusting to do. So. We're all right. It's not the best.
Dana.
I was going to say, it looks like we got a little bit of feedback right there. Sorry about that. I don't want to put you on the spot, Brianna, but you got a nice looking ring on your finger. Anything special with that?
Yeah, I'm actually engaged.
Wow.
Yeah.
I thought I read something like that.
Yes, thank you. My boyfriend, well, I guess fiance, our 4 years is in April, so he's 20, I'm 18. We're just kind of like, well, if we're gonna do it, you might as well do it earlier. So yeah, that's it. Got engaged December 23rd. So
congratulations. Y'all show it off?
Yeah, there it is.
Hey. I thought I noticed that the other day when I met up with you, and I thought I'd seen something that I wasn't sure, and I didn't want to be crazy, but I was thinking, you know what? We're all family here.
Yeah, of course. Thank you, guys.
Awesome.
Well, I'm glad to have you back on here. Chelsea, I know you saw a lot of basketball as well. Have you been to any games here lately?
Yeah, with my media pass and just the crazy lacrosse schedule, I've only been able to catch one public school game, and I went to the Capside rivalry at Sanderson, which is my home team, against Leesville. And Sanderson ended up coming out and beating Leesville. It was a really great game. And Sanderson, right now, they don't have the best record, and the season's coming to an end. But definitely with their senior players like Matt Hanna, Victor Kanema, Evan Ablins, they've just been showing out really well for their senior year and pulling out for the team.
Cool. Who, and this might be a good question for you, Dina, or Jack, and we're just going to kind of wrap up this basketball chat before we dive into some football. Who are the top teams right now, Dina or Jack, that you think are the teams that have the best chance of winning it all in the public school ranks?
1A, I would say it's Lincoln Charter, Henderson Collegiate. Wilson Prep hasn't really been able to play that many games, but they definitely have the potential to. And then I think is Hayesville 1A.
Yeah.
I think okay. Hayesville's really good. Those are just some of the teams off the top of my head. 2A. Farmville, I think, has looked dominant. They're probably going to win it. South Granville, Kinston with Dontrez back coming off his neck injury is going to be really good. 3A, Terry Sanford, Westover, Rocky Mount's actually undefeated. So it'll be interesting with that. And then 4A is going to be really interesting because the Charlotte Mecklenburg schools just got off their, what was it, 2.5, 3 week break. Yeah, they were on pause. So they're only going to have played 5 or 6 games. So it's going to be interesting where they seed them, how many of those teams get in. But, I mean, if things go right, Ardrey Kell, it's going to be up there. North Meck is always Vance, and then Millbrook and Apex Friendship out of the East.
Cool. Man, I knew I could put you on the spot. You would know those answers. I had no question whatsoever that you would be able to do that. I'm looking here. We've got some we got a fan, actually a coach over at Hickory that thinks Hickory. Are they going to be in it?
I'm going to be honest. I haven't even seen anything about them. They may be okay, but I haven't seen anything about being state championship contenders.
Yeah.
But who knows? With 1A and 3A, who's kind of a little bit more wide open. I mean, a team like that, just like last year, Lumberton came out of nowhere, and Pinecrest kind of came out of nowhere. Teams like that, you get hot in the playoffs. There's a lot.
Jack, you're not making any friends tonight.
Sorry.
Hey, maybe they was talking about football. I don't know.
Hey, I think Hickory's going to be pretty good football if you want to know the truth. Oh, well, hey, we've had some good fun talking basketball. We've got a few really good interviews that you guys have put together. I've been out and about this week, so I got a couple. Hey, we got Chris Hobbs. Tradition says watch the West boys and girls, and he's right. Hobbs knows his stuff. Dina, you know that. When it comes to basketball, I trust Chris Hobbs.
Well, he's in the middle. He's up there in Hickory, so we know the tradition of those teams in the uniform. And, back in my heydays, Lenore Ryan was where everybody up in Hickory was where the regionals were, and that was our goal. And so I know there's great basketball up there.
Hey, by the way, we got Chris Hobbs right here, and he's really one of the best they come. I put him up there with some of the best sports writers we've had in this state. I hate to diss our newspapers, but if you need to know scores out of that Catawba Valley, I'd probably go to him before I go to your newspaper, Jack.
Yeah, I was gonna say West for 4A and 3A. I would definitely say just because Weddington is probably the best in 3A right now. Although they do need to play some competition before we can put them up there with North Macon and all them. But I would say 2A. I think 2A is pretty locked up in the East. Is the only one that I would say East is ruling is 2A. Just with Farmville Central just looks like the best team in 2A by far. And with
Jack would know, he's been burning the roads up, all over Eastern North Carolina.
All over Eastern.
When his mama's sending pictures of him playing a game, and then he's sitting down there wanting to be there for Dontrez Styles' return at Kinston. Hey, that's dedication right there.
Yeah, sure is. Friday, I have a JV game at 4:30, so we'll be done by around 6, and then I'm heading to New Bern that night to go watch South Central. So, I'm trying to watch as much basketball as possible.
Cool, good deal. And none of you guys really mentioned it. What do y'all think about my light show back here?
It's very nice.
Cool.
That's your style.
Very cool.
Oh, don't ever doubt Jack. I like that one.
Oh, yeah, there you go, Jack. Cool. Well, hey, we've talked a little bit of basketball, and it's great because, we cover them all here at NC Preps. But I really wanted to focus on some football. Since this is our first week of official football, we've got a few good stories already put together for you guys. So we'll get that started here momentarily. I didn't really put together an order. Jack's kind of been hogging up the camera so far. And also, I'm going to let either Tally, you, or Chelsea go first. Who wants to go first?
I'll go first.
Anyone?
Okay.
Tally.
Well, Tally, I was at your school for practice earlier today. By the way, I think the Wonders are going to be really good. They are one of my top 1 or 2 teams in the 3AA West. I promise you. I was telling Langston Works that earlier today that I think Mike Newsome's got a team that can maybe go all the way. I don't want to put that much pressure on it, but I do think you guys are going to be pretty good. Tally, tell us who you spoke with, and we'll roll that video here in a minute.
Yeah, so I spoke with Nathan Walkham. Nathan is the center for A.L. Brown. He started for 2 years, and he was also the 2020 Great American Rivalry Scholar Athlete. And what that is A.L. Brown versus Concord is a Great American Rivalry, and he had the top GPA on the team out of that. And Nathan is headed to UNC, not to play football, but just to go to school. And I think he wants to study medicine or engineering. So obviously a really smart guy, but also a really good player as well.
Well, Tally, I don't know about you, but I think going to school, especially a school like Carolina or any school, just to go to school instead of playing football, I think that's a pretty big accomplishment too. You don't have to go for athletic reasons.
Yeah, that's actually my story right now. I decided I wasn't going to go to North Georgia to play softball. I'm headed to UNC. I got accepted last Wednesday, and I'm assured admit into the media and journalism.
Wow.
So,
Congratulations.
Go Heels, baby.
It's been a lot of hard work this past couple months, but it's paid off, and I'm still working on scholarships and everything, but it's paid off.
Congratulations. Hey, by the way, and I wasn't really going to tell this to anybody, but I'm putting together my packet to maybe try to apply to go to UNC for a master's program. So you never know. Maybe I can be a Tar Heel too.
Yeah, of course.
And hopefully I will too in the future.
So you never know.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, Tally. Well, let's go to that interview, and we'll come back to you guys here in just a moment.
Hello, welcome back to the show. Today I'm here with Nathan Bachman, a 2021 center and first baseman baseball player from A.L. Brown High School. Nathan was also named the 2020 Great American Rivalry Series Scholar Athlete. Nathan, first, practice started this week. How has preseason workouts and practices been going?
They've been going good. We've been working hard. We've been lucky to be able to practice some beforehand, but this week's we've been doing good, and I'm really excited for the season.
Okay. What do you think are going to be the strengths and weaknesses of the A.L. Brown team this year?
I think the strengths we have is that we have a bunch of returning players. So we have the ability to start before with not having as many juniors or sophomores. But I think the juniors and sophomores we do have are really good.
Yeah, that's
awesome. I'd say the weaknesses, I don't really know that we have some younger kids like sophomores that don't know all the plays yet and stuff. So once we get them to know all the plays, I think we'll be good.
That's good. That's not too bad of a weakness. What are you looking most forward to this season?
I just want to see how far we can go because I feel like our team this year is going to be really good, and I'm excited to see how we all play together and how much each of us have grown since last year.
Okay, and then personally, I'm not a big fan of the 100-player limit. So what are your thoughts on that whole situation?
I think it should be – I want it to be raised, obviously, but if that's what we have to do in order to play, I guess that's how it is. But in my opinion, I think it should be more, but obviously that's fine.
Okay, so you're a really good athlete, but also a really good student in the classroom. What sets you apart and what keeps you motivated in the field and on the classroom?
In the classroom, I'm just trying to do what's best for me. And I just think that going to college and stuff and getting a high education is really important. So, my parents obviously motivate me to do all that. And so getting motivated isn't really a problem in education. In sports, I just tried, and it's for my teammates. I try to play as good as I can so we can succeed as a team.
Yeah. So how has being a two-sport athlete contributed to your overall success?
Well, I think being a two-sport athlete, especially with two sports like football and baseball, it helps me not just focus on one thing or doing one motion all the time. I'm doing multiple different things at one time. Because swinging a baseball bat's a lot different than hitting somebody over and over again.
Okay, what are your plans after graduation?
I'm going to be attending UNC Chapel Hill in the fall of 2021.
Who's your biggest role model and why?
My biggest role model is probably my dad, because he has had pretty much the same like experiences in high school as I have, because he went to Chapel Hill as well. And he also plays football and baseball. So trying to get to the same point to where he was, because he has a successful career, obviously. So getting to where he was is a big part of what I wanted to do.
Okay. And then my final question is just give us your overall outlook on A.L. Brown football. Like, how good do you think we're going to be and all that?
This year, I honestly think we only have one tough game, being honest. Cox Mill is probably going to be our only tough game this year. I see us winning that game, though, obviously. And I feel like we'll have a really good season, and I think we'll have a few home playoff games this year.
Okay. Well, that's all I have for you. Thank you so much for joining, and go Wonders.
You know, Tally, he may be right in what he said, and I said it earlier. I think the team's pretty good, but I have a feeling the coach probably wouldn't be happy to know that he thinks that they're going to beat everybody pretty handedly.
Yeah, I thought it was really funny what he was saying about the only good game is going to be Cox Mill, but we'll let the season talk, I guess.
I got to throw some love to my cousin. Now he plays on Cox Mill, and they're going to try to defend that conference title there. So that's going to be an interesting matchup.
I saw where Varney Farm Bulick decommitted from Navy, and he committed to the Citadel real recently. So that was interesting as well.
Yeah, I think Cox Mill's also going to be really good, by the way. Hey, Jack, we had somebody just before I move on to this next interview set the record straight right here. I think it's Jack's parents are the one burning up the road. No response there, buddy?
Is he muted?
Any comment?
Yeah. Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, they're right.
We know.
Yeah.
Tally, great. Okay. Well, great work with that interview, Tally. I'm going to follow that one up. I was at your practice earlier today and spoke with Coach Newsome. So let's go ahead and roll this video just a couple hours ago over at A.L. Brown. All right, guys, here with Coach Mike Newsome. Third day of practice here at A.L. Brown High School in Kannapolis. Coach, the first thing I wanted to ask you is just the transition of having practices this time of year. Obviously, we're so accustomed to doing it in August and September and the normal parts of the year, and now you're having to wait for basketball players to finish up, which is the reverse of what we're used to. So just from a logistical standpoint of running all phases of practice, handing out equipment, everything like that, how's it gone this first 2 or 3 days?
Well, I mean, it's not been easy. But luckily, with having a great staff that is able to organize really well, and then keeping things organized is probably the best thing I say coaches could do right now is just be organized. I think that the toughest thing is getting the kids to kind of understand some of the things that they have to do in order to keep themselves safe. You just get tired of saying, "Hey, put your mask on, keep your mask on," and those types of things. But yes, and we're having to play, work with the basketball players and their time because they can finish up their season. And we got a lot of them. We got like 6 guys, or 10 guys total if you count the JV and the varsity guys that are involved in that. And so that's been a tough thing for us. But really and truly, the biggest thing is just being able to be out here with the kids and start practice a little bit colder, than normal. But it hadn't been too bad. So, I'm just fortunate to have an opportunity to play.
Speaking of playing, and I know coaches, you don't buy much into preseason hype and rankings, but I did have you guys ranked pretty high in our preseason rankings, assuming we'd have played last fall. I still think you got a really talented team coming back, and I think you as a coach probably have good expectations. But what do you think the fans and just people in general can expect from this team this spring?
Well, I've been really big on this team since, we graduated our group from last year and knowing what we had coming back, and so I felt real confident about the kids that we had and about how good we were going to be. This is going to throw a wrench in everything. I think one of our biggest things that we've had, to our advantage at A.L. Brown is that our strength department and our off-season program is something that's really special. we always have about 90% or 95% of our kids that participate fully in our off-season development program. And really, I think more than anything, this is, even though we've all been kind of shut down, it probably even the playing field when it comes to that a little bit. So although I'm really excited about this team, I think that some of the things that's happened, could allow some teams to maybe get a little better. But we do feel real good about the team we got. I mean, we're talented at a bunch of different places and talented where you need to be talented at too.
Well, last question. I know that the governor says only 100 people can show up to games. If that doesn't get changed and they allow more people in, I know you have a stadium that could hold thousands and still be socially distanced. How are fans going to be able to watch this team? And do you have any, does the school have any way to try to get people on to watch games and maybe online or something like that?
So we as far as the 100 people goes, we're not exactly sure if that's what it stays at, exactly how we're going to sell those tickets. I know we're going to try to take care of senior parents and allow them to be here, and then then we'll look at like senior cheerleading. I don't want to even speculate because I'm not sure exactly how we're going to do that. We're really kind of hoping that they change the numbers around a little bit just to allow some of the more parents to get in and watch their kids play. They got a lot invested in this too, and so we hope that that'll happen. If not, then we're going to, I think all of Cabarrus County and all of our conference schools have partnered with the National High School Federation and we've all had Pixelot cameras installed that are fully automated cameras that will film the games and will stream them live on the National High School Federation website, our NHFS network.com. And then they will do that. And now there is a charge for that. But if the parents want to get a subscription, I think it's like $60 a month or $60 a year, then they can, some of that money they can choose A.L. Brown, and some of that money goes towards the school. So that'll be a great opportunity for everybody to watch the games. Right now with 100 people, no away team fans are going to be able to go. And so that's the way that parents will have to watch games at home, or fans will have to watch games at home online. And the good thing about that, Chris, is that the smart TVs now. I mean, now with the smart TVs, you can sit there and watch it on your 60-inch smart TV right there on your TV, just like you're watching college football and pro football.
Well, Coach, I appreciate your time. I know you need to get to practice, but thanks for letting me stop by today.
Absolutely. Appreciate you, Chris. Thank you.
All right.
All right, guys, and you heard there Coach Newsome talk about this 100-person mandate. I know all of us are familiar with it, and it's really been in the news. I think we've probably all in some form or fashion saw a petition going through the state to try to get the governor to let more than 100 folks in. I've helped Coach Newsome with some stuff, with some stadium photos and some stats to try to put a presentation for the governor together to do everything we can do to try to get more people in. I mean, 100 people, you look at some of these stadiums, we'll use A.L. Brown for instance, that can probably comfortably sit about 7,000, 6,500 people. A stadium like that, you could put hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people in there and be fine socially distanced. But, and let's just call it what it is, a school in Eastern North Carolina, let's just use Columbia, for example. They let 100 people in that stadium at Columbia High School, and I'm not picking on them. They've got a great program, but 100 people in their stadium is almost a packed stadium, a packed bleacher. So you got to really look into it. And I think this blanket statement of 100 people is just asinine, if you ask me. So I don't know. Any of your thoughts on that?
I completely agree with you, Chris. I had the opportunity to go and see a couple of the high school games in South Carolina in the fall. And it was based on each stadium. They had a certain number of tickets that were sold based on each stadium. The student sections were sat together. I mean, I thought it worked well. There wasn't very many problems. I mean, if you got quarantined, then you're out. But come back in 2 weeks and you're good to go.
Yeah, I agree. Hey, by the way, I got to give her a shout out. My good friend Kendra Glover, high school classmate of mine. She is a Raider, by the way, and also an ECU Pirate, CTE teacher at West Cabarrus High School. Kendra and I have done some broadcasting here as well. We probably ought to invite her on to be a host. She's probably look a little better than me and be able to really add more to the program than having me on here. But anyway, we appreciate you, Kendra, for getting on here. Got a few. Let's hope that the rule changes to 50% of the stadium occupancy. Perry Davis, I agree with that. moving to bigger college stadiums. Mr. Trevette, I don't know. Moving it to the college stadiums, the only reason that I would say that may or may not be the best thing to do is just the absolute expense of hosting it there. I think that logistically there may be a few things that make it tough on there. Kendra, raising your hand. We appreciate you. Any questions, any follow-up to that on the stadium issue?
I just think, one of the big points is the visiting teams, parents. We're looking at issues like, what if we have injuries and we have kids that have some possible serious injuries out there? How I mean, they're underage. You need parents to go to the hospital. Your personnel probably can't lead the game, and just a lot of things that maybe they need to take a look at regarding that. But I just kind of wish the limit would be higher, because like you said, some of these stadiums can hold a lot of people all the way around the stadium. Maybe not just sitting in the stands. Some of these stadiums have hills and places where people can stand along the fence and stuff like that. So just interested to see what's going to happen.
No, I agree. And Dean, I wanted to kind of expand upon what you were saying. The injury aspect of it for a visiting player is huge, because you've got to have a licensed trainer there on the team. So, if my team is visiting your school and I got a player that's got to board an ambulance to go somewhere, my trainer can't get on the ambulance and go with them because they've got to be there on premises for my team as part of the rules. A coach, some of these schools have 12, 13, 14 coaches, but you've got some schools, and I've been on the staff at some of them, where you might have 3 assistant coaches and 2 of them are driving the bus. So you can't necessarily have a coach leave a game because they've got to watch out for the players that are there. That's a huge concern. And I know I'm not going to allow one of my players to be sent off to a hospital with nobody there whatsoever. Think of the fear and just the uncertainty and the anxiety that player, already injured, now he's going off to a hospital, maybe in a town dozens and dozens of miles from home by himself. The coach maybe doesn't even know to text her mom or dad or something. They're not even there. They have no idea. I think that there's so many facets to this that need to be rethought of by the state and by those in charge, just for that purpose alone. To at least have, the administration, the principal, somebody needs to be there from that visiting team. And, maybe I'm thinking of it more from just the parent side than necessarily a fan or a media side. But I just think that this is just a terrible rule, especially given the size of some of these stadiums.
I think a percentage of the capacity would probably be.
Well, the 7% was designated for the college stadiums. I mean, Keenan had about 2,500. Carter Finley had a little bit more, around 3,000. And, so I don't know. Some of these stadiums, I mean, you had a 10,000 seat stadium. I mean, that's 700.
Yeah.
At least 700. That would probably take care of parents. Football parents, cheerleading parents. I don't know what they're going to do about bands or whatever. We just don't know what's going to be allowed at these games.
Yeah, I agree. And one thing that Coach Mike Newsome said to me, he said that schools are going to go broke. He says that they're already in the red financially before they even start the game. He said 100 persons in the stand won't even pay the officiating bill and the security bill and the required expenses just to host a game. And he's 100% correct. So that's one of the reasons I hope it gets rethought through, I guess is the best way of doing it. Chelsea, you've kind of been down there in the corner, and I need to come down there to you so we can find out what's going on in Raleigh. Tell us who you spoke with this week.
Yeah, so I spoke with Jackson Adonazio from Sanderson High School. He's a class of 2022 offensive lineman. And for the past 3 weeks, the Sanderson lacrosse team and football team has been sharing the field. So I've kind of gotten a look at some of the drills they're doing, just the changes from the COVID preparation season to the actual season. and they look good out there. And the other thing is who I spoke with early this summer, Jabril McNeil. He graduated early. He is back and forth from Oregon to Raleigh, so he's enrolled in there, getting ready for his college season. But yeah, I spoke with him, and I look forward to what Sanderson's got going on this year.
Well, cool. Well, let me go ahead and play that video. Sorry, I was pressing the wrong buttons right here trying to get you off. Here we go. Let's roll this footage.
All right. Thank you so much for joining. And for those watching, this is the rundown by Chelsea Sipple with NC Preps. I'm here with Sanderson class of 2022 offensive lineman Jackson Adanazio. So the official football season is coming up. It's approaching. And so just with Sanderson, have you been preparing individually and the Sanderson team as a whole?
Okay, so we just started official practice. So, today was the first day of wearing shoulder pads. So we started that. And right before that, we've been doing the no contact, kind of just like run throughs, because we weren't yet, we had masks on. And I know personally, sometimes I'd have the kids come, like the varsity kids and some of the JVs come over, and I have so we lift.
Yeah, and like you talked about with the masks and the no contact, COVID has impacted high school sports greatly. And just describe how Sanderson football has faced those challenges and worked to get over them.
Well, COVID as a whole is basically messed up everything, especially contact sports. So, we have to wear masks when we work out and everything. But us as a program, we decided, we got to stay away from everybody. We've already sacrificed so much that this last sacrifice should be enough, to get us through the season. And we all want to be. We don't want to be selfish. It's seen as selfish. You just were go hang out with people without a mask on, do stuff that you shouldn't do.
For sure. And then what's your individual workout training schedule been like, and for the team too?
So usually I work out maybe 2 to 3 times a day. I'll before football started, I go run some drills, do some stuff like some O-line drills. Then I'd also lift every day, maybe do some footwork. Right now we're doing, we used to have pods. Before this week of official practice, we had a 3:30, 5 o'clock to 5:15 pod, and then a 5:15 to I think it was 6:30 pod, and we just do run throughs and practice like that.
Great. And then who's a team, someone in the conference or out of conference, that you guys look forward to as a game matchup?
I think we look forward to Leesville come back. We got to come back from last year on that, and Millbrook.
Great, those two rivals. And then finally, what are some individual goals you have for yourself this season and for the Sanderson team too?
I'm hoping we get a better record this year. We've definitely improved. We had a lot of young kids from last year come back this year as juniors. I think some of the goals that I set for myself this year is to maybe make all conference, all state, O-line, and I want to get my boys in there with me, the O-line. I definitely want to try to make a playoff run.
Great. All great answers. I look forward to watching you guys this season, and best of luck this season. For those watching again, this is Jackson Adanazio, class of 2022, junior from Sanderson High School, varsity football.
Great job, Chelsea. And I do think Sanderson's going to be a much better team. In fact, I'd rather try to get your coach, Coach Buck, on just to talk about his thoughts, because I do think that them and maybe Rollsville and a couple other schools are going to be some of the dominant schools, or the better schools, I guess I should say, in Raleigh. Certainly anxious to hear from some of the other new coaches as well. I think Green Level may be a team in the Western side of the county that might surprise some people in their first varsity year. Raleigh's got some interesting storylines. I'm anxious to hear them here in the next couple of weeks. But again, great job, Chelsea.
Thank you.
Cool deal. Jack, we're going to go back to you. I know you've been a camera hog much of the night already, but you've got one other interview here that you submitted to us. I thought I'd give you a chance to talk about this young man and let us roll this footage. I think you're on mute, Jack. Let me see if I can unmute you.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, there you go.
Okay. I talked to Isaac Wooten. He is a running back and also plays middle linebacker, but mainly running back at Swansboro High School. He's going to be a junior this year. Looks to have a big breakout season as Swansboro is bringing back their starting quarterback too. He was the MVP running back at IMG Academy in the VTO National Camp. So pretty cool to have one of those on here. So he went to the one in Wilmington, got top 2 in running backs, went down to the national one, and got the MVP. So he has a really cool story. He's 5'9", so he's low to the ground, shifty. I'm excited. I'm hopefully going to go to some of his games this year. It was really cool to talk to him.
Cool. Oh, well, let me go ahead and sorry, I was going to take you out for a minute, Tally. Let me go ahead and run the video on that real quick, and we'll come back and we'll talk a little bit more about this young man.
All right, welcome to this week's Premier Prospects. We are here with Swansboro High School running back and middle linebacker Isaac Wooten. He recently was an All-American at the National VTO camps at IMG Academy, a junior at Swansboro High School. Looking to have a big year. Isaac, as you made this journey through these VTO camps, what was the regional camp that you went to that led to you going to the national camp, and how did you felt like you did at the regional level?
I went to the VTO camp in Wilmington, North Carolina, and it was pretty competitive out there, but I feel like I did my thing. I've always been working for this, just always grinding every day, working out all the time, trying to improve myself for a better year.
Yeah. And so after, did you win top 5 or MVP for that?
For the one in Wilmington, I got second place for the running back group. Okay. And then at IMG, I got MVP.
Gotcha. So you got top 2 in the Wilmington one. So as you were going down to Florida, I mean, that's against some of the best competition in the country, really. What were your expectations going down there?
Really just to show out, because I already know my abilities and it's just something I've always wanted. So it was just a matter of doing it.
Yeah. And when you got there, did you feel like, obviously you won the MVP, so what were some of the things that you're able to show to the people there that were picking places? What did you feel like you did well that gave you a chance to win the MVP there for the running backs?
Mainly like my field work, like my footwork, running routes, catching, anything out the backfield. So
yeah. And you're 5'9", so I'm sure there come struggles with that. Just being short in the sport of football. What are some of the challenges that you face, and what are some things that you do that you can balance that out and try to fight that challenge?
Some of the challenges are like being a little less weight, a little bit shorter, so it's kind of harder to catch out the backfield over defenders. But the pros to that is also like a little bit lower to the ground, hit lower, a little faster, shiftier, quicker on your feet, just stuff like that.
Yeah. And so you're a junior. Swansboro had a pretty good year last year, a great wide receiver and quarterback combo. You're looking to make a big impact this year. What are your goals as a player this season and as a football team?
Hopefully as a team we could, repeat like we did last year with a new team. It's a really young team this year. We lost like 28 seniors, but personally I'm trying to get over 100 a game in rushing, and then probably over 100 in receiving too.
Yeah. And is y'all's quarterback coming back?
Yeah.
Yeah. Talk about that relationship right there. He's going to be a senior or junior? Which one?
He's going to be a senior.
So he's being a senior. You're coming in as a junior. That quarterback running back relationship right there can be really important talk about your relationship with your quarterback, how he plays. Just describe his game to the people listening.
Yeah, me and Damien, we started playing in middle school together my 7th grade year. And then he eventually moved away, but then he came back my sophomore year. And then it was like that relationship never broke up. So it's just like we're like that. I always have his back. He always got my back, and he's always counting on me. I'm always counting on him.
As junior year is a big year for recruiting. So what are some of the things, if you've heard from any schools, what schools have you heard from? And when you're going into this recruiting process, what are some things that stand out from schools that make you go to those certain schools, some certain traits and stuff like that?
I haven't really been getting too many looks at yet, but I'm still working on that. But to determine down where I'm gonna go, it really just depends on what I want to major in and how well I fit into that team and that program.
Yeah, and like you said, how you want to major in being a student athlete. Is school a big part to you, and do you take being a student athlete seriously, or are you more focused on being a football player when you go to college?
School's always coming first, but second of all, it's athlete. So always got to focus on the school part first.
Yeah, got to balance it.
All right, great job, Jack. I got to throw this out there. I got to give that young man, Isaac Wooten, some props. I don't know if you noticed it, but he had a pretty cool background behind him. I don't know if he's an art student or he just likes pretty portraits, but that was some pretty cool artwork behind him.
Yeah, and I think he's definitely going to have a big year this year. Swansboro last year surprised a lot of people, had a great season. And they're in a tough conference, too. Jacksonville has Tymier Brown. He's always going to make electric plays. Northside's always pretty good. So I think they're always looked as an underdog just because throughout their program all time, they necessarily haven't been as good as other teams. But I think recently they've been pretty good, and I think they'll be pretty good this year too.
I think so. And don't forget, you may or may not be aware, but Swansboro, they're no stranger to producing some big time D1 talent. I don't know if you remember a few years ago, DeAndre Tompkins came through. Went to Penn State where he was an absolute star. They've done a great job down there at Swansboro. And, because of the location, kind of remote there, right up there against the coast, I think sometimes people forget about them. They've been a pretty good program. Yeah,
Joel Hunt last year is at Lenore Ryan. Their quarterback is really good. I'm sure he'll go somewhere to play college football. So they definitely have had some big-time players. So I think they'll be pretty good this year.
Cool. Well, guys, I've got one more video to play, and I've got another one that I submitted. The first day of practice, I went to a practice up in the northwestern part of the state. Dina, I rode by your house. I probably didn't realize it, but I had my arm out the window as I passed through waving at you.
And go ahead. Brian Hanks should be watching this video. Our good friend, North Wilkes, big fan there of the Vikings. So a shout out to Brian Hanks.
Yep. And by the way, just for the record, North Wilkes may be the most rural and remote school in the state of North Carolina. Them and maybe Robbinsville are two schools that you just don't happen to drive by. You have to physically want to go to that school to get out there. But it was a great little ride up through the hills to go visit my good friend, Coach Dave Wotecki, first year at North Wilkes. Had a really good 7-year run as the head coach at Greenville Rose, took them to a state championship. And before that, I was at Halifax County up in Virginia. So he's been around, a great coach. I put together some of my sports writing and my old TV work to kind of put this piece together. So thought I did a good job with it. But I hope you guys enjoy it. And here we go. This is from day one of a high school practice this year with my visit up to North Wilkes.
Monday, February the 8th, marked the first official day of practice for high school football teams across North Carolina. For my first stop of the year, I traveled to North Wilkes High School to visit with head coach Dave Wotecki and his Viking football squad. Wotecki is in his first year at North, following a 7-year stint at J.H. Rose High School in Greenville, where he posted a 58-32 mark, which included a 4A state runner-up finish in 2015. The Vikings went 7-5 a year ago and are looking to improve upon that success during this spring campaign.
All right, Coach Wojtecki up here, North Wilkes. New first year for you as the head coach. Typically, I would be talking to you at your first practice in August, but here we are, February the 8th. And who would have ever thought that we'd be starting a season this time of year? And there goes the clock. Starting the practice, first official practice of the year. But Coach, just tell me how the transition's been, not only at this school, but just obviously with everything we've dealt with the pandemic and learning virtually and everything else.
Well, with the pandemic, it's definitely been a challenge, especially as a new head coach out of school. I don't get a chance to really learn the kids and know them very well. And, obviously you can't do certain things in the weight room with them. And that's where we really needed to be most of the time, was in the weight room, getting stronger and getting ready for practice. But, it's been a pretty good transition so far. I like the area. The kids work extremely hard, and hopefully it carries over when we start real practice here.
Well, I'm looking at here at all the numbers. I mean, it looks like you got decent numbers. There's definitely a lot of enthusiasm, and you got a lot of guys out here ready to play. How do you feel just about the outlook and your season kicking off here in a few weeks? I know it's a different kind of a season, playing a shortened schedule, but how do you feel about this upcoming year?
Well, it's definitely been a change from Rose with 150 in the program. I worry about numbers all the time here and backups and putting people in places. So that's been a big change. But the kids that have shown up and have been here consistently, they definitely work hard, and I think we'll be very good if we can get through healthy, and like everybody else, if you can stay healthy, you got a chance to be pretty successful.
Well, I know you're about ready to start practice, but one last question. I see a really nice new clock over there. You got a beautiful new sled over there. I've seen the lights, a lot of upgrades in the facilities. It looks like you've really hit the ground and done a lot just to build the program aspect of it here. It looks like you've put a lot of work and a lot of effort in here while the kids have been gone.
Yeah, we definitely want to start creating a exciting atmosphere, just so we can get all the kids that come out and play. It's a small school, so we need kids to play multiple sports: football, basketball, baseball. All those sports, and hopefully those things get them excited about coming out. And the clock, I can't live without a clock for practice. I am wired differently with that. And then as the offensive line coach, I had to have a new sled because ours was in pretty bad shape. So, and now we're starting to attack, weight room things, getting goal boards and lifting groups and max out bells, and just trying to create a new culture.
Well, Coach, I appreciate you letting us come and hang out with you today. Enjoy your first practice, and good luck this year.
Thank you. Between guard and tackle with your line. And you're going to be a half a step behind me. So go ahead and get in your spot between the guard and the tackle. All right, on the clap, you're saying the cadence plan. Okay. Down. Sit.
For NCPreps.com, this is Chris Hughes.
All right, guys, so there you have it. That was, and I did think about Brian Hanks, by the way, Dina, when I was up there. I knew that he would enjoy the fact that I was at his school. But coming off a 7-5 season, they had I think it's their second winning season in about 20 years. If I'm not mistaken, or something close to that. But bringing in a state championship level coach up there, I think that they've got a chance to, really build something.
Someone that's been at that stadium several times, because it's up in my area, and my school is a member of that conference. May not be next year with the new realignment and everything, but Chris, I was going to tell you'll have to go up there one Friday night and visit the concession stand because it's very good.
I believe it. I believe it. And they were actually setting the concession stand up as I was there because right as I was leaving practice, they were about to start a soccer game between Starmount and North Wilkes. So I've heard good things about that concession stand, and I could only imagine, I was coming down through the winding roads, kind of below Stone Mountain, and, you see all the rural farm communities and people there. I could imagine, there ain't really anything else to do up there, so they probably like that area and really enjoy their football.
It's a very scenic background sitting there at the foot of the Blue Ridge Mountains, and like you said, right close to Stone Mountain. So, but like I said, North Wilkes, new coaching staff. Coach Chipman, who was my longtime neighbor for a long time growing up, he did some great things there at North Wilkes. Like you said, had some conference championship that Brian Hanks will never let me live down because he's that Viking super fan. But Coach Shipman's gone on across the border and is in Virginia, so I'm anxious to see what Coach Wotecki does.
I agree. Me as well. I think he and his personality, and I know him really well, and his background where he comes from, I think that is just going to mesh really well with the fans in that area, and I expect them to only get better. And kind of what you said, you mentioned Coach Chipman, the success he had there, and really had some great success at East Wilkes before he went up there. So I think that they will only get better. Guys, I thought we've had a great show. We've really filled an hour, and I feel like we can keep on going. All of you guys provided just a lot of content just in what you've done. Even you, Brianna, even though you weren't able to submit a video, and again, you've been playing ball, so I don't expect you to have a lot of time to commit like I do. Anyway, guys, I thought it was a wonderful show. Our traffic numbers, have been sitting here looking at it, have been steady all night. So, I mean, it's been a really good show. I've been kind of thinking about this, Dina, and, I've thought about maybe should we re-release a preseason spring ranking or not? Well, what you think's thoughts on that?
Do it.
I kind of think so because we've had a lot of the talent-wise in North Carolina. We've had a lot of early enrollees, and some of these guys are game changers. So why not?
Well, I was I've been working with Langston Wirtz on the top Sweet 16 for the Charlotte Observer in that region. And, I got to looking at it today, and I'm thinking to myself, wow, there's some teams that really aren't where we thought they would be. And maybe we can tease it for just a moment. I don't want to keep you guys up too much, but, I think 4A, if I was just to throw a couple favorites out there, I think Richmond County and Chambers High School, which obviously was known as Vance, or whether it will become Chambers, I think Vance is still going to be right there. 3A, it's hard to bet against what Weddington's got going, even, with some significant departures right there. We mentioned A.L. Brown, there are still some really talented teams. And then there's some really good teams that were hit immensely with talent moving on. I think of East Forsyth, I think they've lost about 6 D1 kids out of East Forsyth. How good are they going to be? Boy, it's going to be an interesting season, to say the least, Dina.
Yes.
Yeah, it's going to, like I said, some of those players that have moved on to the collegiate ranks, and we had some coaches changes too. Coach Chadwick got a huge job offer up in Maryland, being in the high school, will be the high school relations guy for the University of Maryland, leaving Myers Park. So it's just going to be interesting. Can't wait.
Yes.
I agree. Well, guys, that's all I've got. You guys, any last words for any of you before we cut it loose tonight?
No.
Allie, Kelsey, Brianna?
Got nothing.
I'm tired, to be honest.
And once again, Brianna, congratulations on your big news. We better get invitations to the wedding.
Yes.
Of course.
All right. Dina, I always give you the last word. Anything from you to report?
No, just ready to go, and great show tonight, guys.
Absolutely. Hey, one last thing, Brianna. This is the first time you've been on since we've got our new open. What do you think about the graphics coming into the show?
Oh, I love it. It looks so good. Everything looks so good. Y'all work so hard, and I think
I'm gonna give you some new videos too, Chris.
Cool. We need it. We can redo it. Start adding some other sports in. But cool. Well, I'm gonna play it one more time on our way out, guys. I appreciate it. If you guys are hanging out after the video, I'll say hey again. But we appreciate the hard work you guys put forth, and have a good week. And we'll see all you guys next week.
I'm still on it.
All right, y'all have a good week.
Rock it in St. Louis. Rock it in St. Louis.